Okay, so what we want to do in this session, and in the past when we used to do the summer camps, we used to go from this step, which is the SimCir diagram, and we say, okay, now go put in all of these elements. Put in the switch, put in the DC power supply, put in all these gates, wire everything up on your breadboard. And we found that there are some students who could do that. Most students had trouble because there were just so many wires going around. This doesn't look like there's that many wires, but when you put it on the breadboard, keep in mind that each one of these gates, or these like XOR gates, they're going to need power and ground as well. And so there's 4 connections for these that's not shown, 4 connections for this that's not shown, 4 connections or 2 connections for this that are not shown. So there are a bunch of additional wires that are not shown. Each one of these splits is a separate wire. And then there's switches, and these switches, you can't just connect DC to it. You also have to send ground to it so that they can switch between either DC or ground. So there's wires in addition. So we decided that that was too complex to be able to really do on your own without like a lot of guidance. So what we've done is we've abstracted away this part of the circuit, the power supply and the switches, and this part of the circuit, which is the LED outputs, and those are now on the printed circuit boards. So your printed circuit boards has your input and your output. And what we want the students to understand is, okay, I plug in the printed circuit board into my proto board, and now I need to make only the connections between my switches and my logic gates, and the connections between my logic gates and my outputs. And that will allow them to build the full circuit without having to go through and understand everything all at once.